Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pittsburgh Fringe Artist Chats. My name is Knutson. It's through my group, Minion Productions. I help artists learn about and plan their trips to Fringe festivals all over North America. But right now, I'm here to help us learn more about the shows happening at this year's Pittsburgh Virtual Fringe, coming up on May 6th to 9th, including this show right here. Can you introduce yourself for everybody?
Hi, I am Mindy Pfeffer, and I'm doing a piece called Fast Forward.
Nice. And I've been giving everybody a chance to do the elevator pitch for the show, which I know the piece itself isn't that long this time. So we only need about 20 to 30 seconds. And it's as if we were just flyering a line and trying to convince everybody to come in. So if you just found me at a festival about to see another show and you were convincing me to see your show, what would you say?
I would say, come see my show about me starting as a non-athlete with a tendency to fall and trip and be klutzy, ending up with the help of my father and a bicycle that I love to ride, ending up competing in a triathlon, an Ironman triathlon, and learning that it's kind of not how you end up. And this sounds a little bit dorky, but it's the journey you go to get where you're going.
There's a reason that a lot of things are adages. Some of them you listen to and you think, oh, that's trite, that's a little corny. Some of them you listen to and go, yeah, that's just around because it's true. Yeah, I think that is one of them. But I also think that's a very relatable thing. Not all of us can relate to the idea of actually becoming an athlete then, but the idea that it is difficult to do. Now, I know this particular piece on that subject is pretty new, but you have been prepping a bit for it, you said?
Yes, I would also like to add actually that the pandemic is kind of an endurance event. So we're all learning about that.
Yes.
I did do a full-length solo play about my training for an Ironman, and I did it in a couple Fringe festivals a few years ago. I actually met you, Grant, there at one of them, I think. And and then the pandemic hit, and I created a short, like 15-ish minute piece based on the play, mostly focused on biking and my father helping me to learn to ride a bike and how I managed to train for an Ironman, learn a few things along the way. And that's what the piece is about. And it's kind of like a mini version of the longer play.
That's great. Yeah, and I got to see the longer show at Port Fringe, like you said, in Portland, Maine, which was very fun. So it'll be, I really like the idea. And one of the reasons I love the Fringe festivals where you meet people in this just big interconnected web and get to see the shows develop, last for years, get to see the new shows from people as you get to know the person in person and you also get to know them on stage. So the idea of seeing this from a different viewpoint, a different perspective sounds really cool. So another question that came to mind, though, I was saying that you've done the longer version in person, you've done some of this material in person. How do you so far feel that it's been different having to do stuff online, do it virtually, than to have that intimate crowd there?
Very odd. I've done the piece 2 or 3 times virtually, and I chose not to do the longer piece virtually because it involves a lot of, I actually swim, well, from a chair, I swim, I run, I bike, and it just felt too weird to do it on Zoom. It's weird to be talking to the little dot, knowing that, like right now, I'm not looking at you, but I want it to look like I'm looking at you, so I'm looking at the little dot. But somebody said something really fascinating to me a while ago about doing theater and connecting with people on Zoom, which is, even though it feels like we're all 2D squares, we're actually in our spaces. I'm in a 3D space and you're in a 3D space. So I try to think of connecting you. And that's why I personally, and this is just a personal preference, not to make anyone wrong, but I really like doing things live, which is what I'm doing.
Yeah, we're all just, we're making up for it in ways we can. And some people are finding really fun, innovative ways to do so. But like you said, I remember from your live show that it was one of the things where you are generally staying in one spot in a small, intimate space, but you did a great job of making us feel the movement and the physicality of that and how difficult it is and was. But yeah, same idea here. we're still creating artifice and trying to make it look as real as possible, but in a different way. And in that same way you just said, I'm staring up at my nice big camcorder up here and seeing you out of the peripheral of my eye and seeing my dozing cat over here in the other peripheral of my eye.
Yeah.
So that we're still creating that intimacy where you can, and we're doing what we can to get our art across. I love that. Yeah. Speaking of that, we have a whole bunch of very different shows coming up, and we've been saying every time there are over 50 shows happening in just these 3 days of the Pittsburgh Virtual Fringe. And we want this to feel like a big festival where you get to go from one place to another, discover new things, change up styles every hour. In that spirit, is there a show or two that you are particularly excited to see in the festival?
Actually, funny you should ask. And funny you should have mentioned Port Fringe. There are 2 shows, wonderful women doing both of them that were at Port Fringe with me in 2019. One is called Effing Robots. And then there's more about AI. I don't remember it. It's Nicole Cabe. And the other one is Sexology the Musical, Melanie Mosley. And I'm really looking forward to seeing both of those again to see how they do it virtually. And one other note is that Melanie and I both, crossing fingers, will be in person live at the Boulder Fringe Festival this August.
Nice.
Doing the shows.
That's great. Yeah, they've come up with some good ways to, they're on that cusp of where things are starting to open up, and they found some good ways to be safe with live intimate performances and mix that in, which I love. And I have seen both of those shows in person in several different cities. So like you said, I'm just really excited to see the difference, the change. Yeah. So on that note and in that spirit, everybody please go to the Pittsburgh Fringe website. Check everything out now, because once we get there, over 50 shows in only 3 days, it's going to be hard to make those decisions in the moment. So go take a look through and see what you would like to see, and then join us back here May 6th to 9th for Pittsburgh Virtual Fringe. Thank you, everybody.